We're very lucky to have these stories today, because all four Gospels have them. And most Scripture scholars say that these attestations suggest that this is one of the earliest and oldest and most important memories of the church. Now, they're slightly different, but this memory means that for some reason it's critical to understand who Christ is. Our gospel today is the Gospel of Mark, and it's a very, as compared to the other Gospels, it's very direct, very short, and it has one very specific goal. It's to make disciples of us. There's no other reason for it. That's the goal of Mark. Now, when I think of Palm Sunday, I have kind of an odd remembrance, and I'm dating myself here. When I was a young altar boy, just around the end of Vatican II, when they were turning the altar around and it was going to vernacular, we were helping the priest rip apart the palms so there would be more of them. And one of the altar boys nicked his finger and started to bleed a little bit. That's an odd remembrance, but I always think of it. But the more I thought about it, the more it dawned on me that the palms that we hold can be very dangerous. At least to Mark, they could be. In Mark's Gospel, the scripture scholar Eugene Leverdier says that Mark literally means for us to walk in the footsteps of Jesus Christ. Literally. And the gospel for Mark is kind of like a treasure map. And there is hidden something in it that only if we read it and listen to the ear with our ears of faith can we come to conclusion of who Jesus really is. It's called the Messianic secret. Unlike the other Gospels, Jesus doesn't say he's the Messiah. He calls himself over and over the Son of Man. And this is a reference to a minor prophet, but it's basically a spiritual person who takes on all the suffering of the world. What Jesus actually is doing is showing very simply that he is not the political Messiah, not the king who will be riding in on a stallion with the sword drawn, ready to overthrow those nasty Romans. He comes in on a colt. In some translations, it's a donkey, but what it means basically is that it's a small, untrained animal. They just give it to him. Everything that Jesus does is to kind of suggest that he's not the political Messiah, that he's something quite different. Now, what's really interesting is that the people who follow Jesus don't have a clue. But it's the demons that Jesus casts out, or sinners, or people who have healed him, that he has healed, know who he is. And he keeps telling them, be quiet, be quiet. Don't tell anyone. Well, don't you think Jesus would want people to know he's the Messiah? Mark is basically saying to us, very directly, if you pick up that palm, you must answer a question. Who is Jesus to you? Who are you to Jesus? What type of choice are you going to make to follow Jesus? And Mark has one end. The procession leads to Jerusalem, to the tomb after suffering and death. All of us are called in our own way to follow Jesus step by step, not individually, but together as a faith community. And my final idea is this, is that if we look at the gospel, there are a lot of characters in the gospel who carried the palms. I wonder if we reflect on our own life, if sometimes we are like them. Do we rally around waving palms because we're excited, but when it gets tough, we run away? Or we start throwing rocks and get angry at people? Or we are more like the apostles, where we sleep. We're oblivious to the Son of God. We're oblivious to God in each other and in the poor and the suffering or the outcasts. Or we like the Pharisees that want to have a scapegoat and blame other people. Or are we like Pilate that just wants to curry political favor and will do anything it takes to be successful? Or are we like Peter, who out of fear denied Christ? I look at my own life and I see myself in all these people at different times. I suggest to you that at some time all of us have fit, just maybe for a second or for a moment, into these molds. But that is what it means to be human. And moreover, to be a follower of Christ. That we keep converting our heart and mind, following in the footsteps that lead to suffering and death. But remember, there will be a resurrection.